Tensions in the Middle East have entered a dangerous new phase as Israel continues targeted strikes on Iranian military infrastructure, and the Trump administration weighs a deeper US role in the widening conflict. This follows the deployment of additional American military assets across the region, including air defense systems, naval strike groups, and strategic bombers, further raising the stakes in an already volatile situation. US President Donald Trump, in his second term, and now facing one of the biggest foreign policy tests of his presidency, has demanded what he calls unconditional surrender from Tehran. Despite ongoing back-channel negotiations over Iran's nuclear program, Trump is doubling down on pressure, even as Israel's offensive campaign against Iranian-linked targets inside and outside Iran escalates. According to US intelligence reports cited by the New York Times, Iran is preparing its missile systems for potential strikes on American military bases across the region. This move, officials say, is a contingency response should Washington formally enter the war on Israel's side. Iran has already retaliated with a limited volley of drones and ballistic missiles, though US and Israeli officials claim that the intensity of these attacks has decreased following Israel's destruction of several key launch facilities inside Iranian territory. The most provocative development yet came earlier this week, when Israeli warplanes targeted a high-security district in Tehran, reportedly destroying a weapons research facility and prompting Israel to issue an unprecedented evacuation advisory for parts of the Iranian capital. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has openly spoken of the need for regime change in Tehran, signaling a hardline position that has stunned diplomats and divided opinion in Western capitals. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, responded sharply in a pre-recorded national address aired across Iranian state media. He denounced Israel's military operations as cowardly acts of desperation, adding that the strikes came at a time when Tehran was engaged in delicate, indirect negotiations with the United States over the future of its nuclear enrichment program. Khamenei accused Washington of hypocrisy, saying it cannot negotiate in good faith while arming and backing Israel's military campaign. In his address, Khamenei warned the United States against what he called reckless adventurism, declaring that any formal entry by the US military into the conflict would result in irreparable damage across the region. He insisted that Iran would not capitulate under foreign pressure, stating,
"American involvement only proves Israeli weakness. Iran will never surrender to threats. We will remain strong, and we will retaliate proportionally wherever and whenever necessary."
Khamenei also called on the Iranian people to brace for hard times ahead, but urged national unity in what he described as a defining historical moment for the Islamic Republic. He praised Iran's missile corps for what he claimed was a strategic weakening of the enemy's assets, though independent assessments suggest Iran's capability to project power has been significantly degraded in recent days.
The second point is that this incident, the incident of the Zionist regime's stupid and malicious invasion of our country, occurred while government officials were negotiating indirectly with the American side. There was no issue from Iran that would indicate that there was a military move or a harsh move. Of course, it was suspected from the beginning that America was also involved in this malicious move of the Zionist regime. But with these recent statements that they are making, this suspicion is being strengthened day by day. The Iranian nation stands firm against the imposed war, as it has stood so far, and stands firm against the imposed peace. The Iranian nation will not surrender to anyone in the face of imposition. The very fact that its American friends are entering the scene and speaking is a sign of its weakness and a sign of its impotence. Finally, the President of the United States has recently opened his mouth to threaten us. He is both threatening and, with a ridiculous and unacceptable statement, explicitly asking the Iranian nation to come and surrender to me. The Iranian nation has shown that it is not afraid in the face of threats from those who threaten. We have not been subjected to anyone, and we will not accept any kind of submission, and we will not submit to anyone's submission. This is the logic of the Iranian nation. This is the spirit of the Iranian nation.
Meanwhile, inside the Trump White House, officials are reportedly divided. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, initially critical of Israel's decision to launch unilateral strikes during ongoing diplomacy, has since reversed his tone, describing Israel's actions as necessary steps for regional self-defense. Behind closed doors, however, sources familiar with National Security Council deliberations say there remains hesitancy about launching a full US military campaign, particularly without congressional approval or international support. Trump himself is said to be leaning in toward direct involvement, but remains focused on forcing Iran to return to the negotiating table under maximum pressure. Meanwhile, US bases in Qatar, Bahrain and the UAE have gone on high alert. Military sources confirm that missile defense systems, including Patriot batteries and Aegis-equipped ships, have been repositioned to intercept potential Iranian threats. American warplanes have also increased patrols over strategic waterways such as the Strait of Hormuz and the Bab el-Mandeb.